All right, guys. I'm eating some breaded hot chicken, so I picked a great time to do a video. But there's been back and forth going on reference this Breonna Taylor incident. And a lot of people are saying, well, she was fired because of drugs, and she was involved with drugs, and she was, this, and she had a gun, and she had a gun too, and shot at the cops. We're gonna set the record straight. The jury's out. The Courier Journal has done investigating and digging through facts and evidence and materials and documents, and they've come up with sort of a kind of a Snopes on the Breonna Taylor incident. Now, when you say Snopes, where you say, is that true? And you go to Snopes and it'll say true or false and tell you the real deal. That's what the Courier Journal has done, reference Breonna Taylor. They've gone and gathered all the material and they're going to give you the true and false. I'm going to put a link to the Courier Journal's article below in the description box. I'm not going to cover the whole thing here. You can read it and you can read through every little thing that they depict as true or false. I'm going to go over 3 or 4 of them here. I think it's 3, it may be 4. But I'm going to go over the most common ones. So, and this is for you, Tasman, brother. This is for you because this is the truth. And I already knew you had the truth, but that's what I'm saying. I'm doing this for him because he's right. Breonna Taylor is a victim of law enforcement murder by badge. So there's people going, well, he was fired because of drugs and this happened and that happened. We're going to find out the truth because the Courier Journal actually gathered the evidence. This isn't like mainstream media BS or some type of propaganda type narrative. The Courier Journal, they spent months digging and reading and investigating, and they've come up with the Snopes of the Breonna Taylor incident. Well, I say Snopes. Snopes, quotation marks. The true and false. And I'm going to give you some of them right here, right now. This is the fact. This is it. This ain't like your mainstream media propagandish narrative. This is facts. Let's get into it. The first one, the claim is that police were at the wrong apartment. Various Facebook and Twitter posts have claimed that Louisville police went to the wrong apartment the night of Taylor's death when they served a no-knock warrant. In fact, their rating is false. The search warrant for Taylor and her home explicitly identified her and her address. The Louisville police were not there by mistake. They believe that Taylor had ties to Glover, one of the main suspects in the investigation. Now, when you hear me say, well, the cops were at the wrong house, I don't necessarily mean they were at the wrong address in relation to the search warrant. No, they had a search warrant for her home and for her ex. When you hear me say, well, they were at the wrong house, what I simply mean is they were at the wrong place to look for drugs. There were no drugs found in that home. Nope. Another claim, Taylor was living with a drug dealer. Several social media posts have accused Taylor of living with a drug dealer, insinuating that is why police had targeted her place for a search warrant and narcotics investigation. In fact, their rating is false. Neither Taylor nor her sister has any drug offenses on their records. Any alleged involvement that Walker may have had in drug sales would not have been known by police until after the shooting, nor has he been charged with any drug offenses after. Furthermore, Taylor shared her apartment with her younger sister, Janiah Palmer. Neither Taylor nor Palmer have any history of drug offenses. Another claim is that Taylor works as an EMT. On May 11th, Ben Crump, who has represented several high-profile clients around the country in police shootings, issued a news release saying he was joining the case of an EMT killed in a bungled police raid. Several local and national media outlets, including the Courier Journal, also have reported that Taylor was an emergency medical technician. This is partially true, as Taylor joined the city as an EMT recruit in January of 2016. Became a full EMT by June and left the Metro government in November of 2016. The Kentucky Licensure Agency says Taylor's license was never suspended and there is no disciplinary action in her file. However, her EMS certification expired on March 21st of 2018, according to the National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians. Local attorneys for Taylor's family have clarified that she was working as an ER technician at 2 area hospitals at the time of her March 13th death, with aspirations of becoming a nurse. And I'm going to add, those, of course, were stopped by the homicide of the Louisville Metro police officers shooting her in her hallway. In the final claim, Breonna Taylor had a rifle and shot at police. In the initial aftermath of the March 13, 2020 shooting, officers asked Walker who was shooting from inside the apartment. Allegedly, Walker said it was Taylor. Walker soon backtracked, telling investigators he panicked and admitted he fired one shot with his legally owned Glock handgun. That claim is false. Despite initially saying Taylor was the shooter, Walker quickly recanted and admitted firing one shot as police used a battering ram to enter Taylor's apartment. Walker said he did not know it was police on the other side of the door. Neither he nor Taylor was armed with a rifle or any long gun of any kind, just his Glock 9mm handgun. And so now you have the rest of the story. Should be no more argument about what happened.